The big political story today coming out from Tamil Nadu. In fact, Tamil Nadu's powerful Chief Minister Jayalalithaa has been held guilty in a corruption case. In the verdict that has set off tremors in the political corridors of Tamil Nadu, the Chief Minister was declared guilty in the verdict that took 18 years coming. The verdict delivered at around 2:20 p.m. set off protests by AIADMK cadre, whereas DMK, that had been politically knocked to the ground by the Chief Minister, celebrated. And here are the sections under which Jayalalithaa has been charged. Section 120B, criminal conspiracy, Section 109, punishment for abetment, and Section 131E, Prevention of Corruption Act. Political reactions have been coming in thick and fast. Subramaniam Swamy of the BJP and E. Ilangovan of the DMK had this to say.
96.
And
yes,
it was open shut case then, but with the usual facilities of a rich person that Ms. Jayalalithaa is, she had the best lawyers and they have been buying time, and finally it came before a judge who was a very upright judge, and we got justice. I think Ms. Jayalalithaa should know that corruption doesn't pay, and that goes with all others also who have been in powerful positions, that the country's mood has changed and we want to fight corruption.
See, we were accused of filing false charges against Jayalalithaa out of political vendetta. Now our stand, we are absolved of that stand. The judiciary has awarded sentence for her activity. So first thing is, we cannot be charged as filing false allegations against her. Secondly, justice, which was delayed for so many years, was not denied. So we are happy. Definitely, it is for the people to say it is for the people to decide whether to have a party which is involved in so much of corruption. So we have our own agenda earlier. Even not only this, apart from this, the AIADMK government for the past 3 years has failed in all respects. Failed in maintaining law and order, failed in industrial development, failed in economic growth, failed in providing electricity, failed in protecting farmers. In every area, this government has failed. So along with that, we will add to that, and we will go.
So I hope that these people also do not go into the streets and create violence and things like that. But Jayalalithaa has already told them not to overdo things. And she knows how to control the party. So they will show their anger, but then within a limit, I feel. And then the second thing is that DMK is very happy that this has happened. But at the same time, DMK also is facing the corruption charges. What about 2G case, and what about Raja, what about Kanimoli, what about Dayanidhi Maran? So I don't think that DMK can also go beyond the point. But of course, the opposition will come together.
Well, repercussions are being felt all across Tamil Nadu, and especially in Chennai. Of course, it has come to a standstill. These are visuals outside Karunanidhi's residence, DMK leader Karunanidhi's residence. There have been stone pelting that has been reported outside his residence, and of course his effigy being burnt there by the supporters of Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Jayalalithaa. This is a lot of people, those who understand the politics of Tamil Nadu, understand that the cadre is extremely emotional, and now the law and order, of course, will be a huge problem. The police will have to be on their toes. My colleague Shrisha Reddy brings us this report from outside Karunanidhi's residence.
A clash between the AIADMK and the DMK voters in Chennai after the verdict has come out in Jayalalitha's disproportionate assessed case. Now that the DMK and the AIADMK have been indulged in violence, and they have been pelting stones at right outside the DMK Chief Karunanidhi's residence, and these are the visuals that we are getting, live visuals. The police have also resorted to lucky charge, and there is an argument by the DMK voter with the police, and the DMK also alert that the police is trying to be a mute spectator in the whole issue. And even in other parts of Tamil Nadu, the shops have been shut. The lot of establishments have down their shutters, fearing some sort of violence in different parts of the district. So these these are the live visuals right outside Karunanidhi's residence at Gopalapuram. This is it. The judgment has had an adverse effect in Tamil Nadu. With camera person Manohar Srisha Reddy in Chennai for Headlines Today.
Well, bringing you a minute-by-minute update, of course, on this big story. In the studio with me is Javed Ansari, Executive Editor, Headlines Today. And, of course, we have Gordon Kant, he's a constitutional expert. Also joining me live right now is Srisha Reddy from outside Karunanidhi's residence in Chennai. And we'll, of course, be joined by T.S. Sudhir, our editor, South, from outside the special court in Bangalore. Let me first go across to Srisha. Srisha, what's the latest? How is the situation right now? We saw those visuals of stone pelting and angry supporters of Jayalalithaa. What's the situation right now?
Well, right now, Ankit, the situation is under control, though I can ask my camera person to pan and show you there is a heavy security deployment. The police have been deployed in the 4 streets where Karunanidhi's house is. This is at Gopalapuram where we are standing right now. So the judgment has had an adverse effect on Tamil Nadu itself, and including in all the districts, including Tiruchi, Kadalur, Salem, Coimbatore. All the districts have been facing such a violence and clash between AIADMK and the DMK supporters because this is seen as a move by the DMK party itself. That is what the AIADMK is alleging and holding the DMK chief Karunanidhi responsible for the entire case, and that is they have foisted a false case against the AIADMK chief is what they have also saying since this morning. Those people who are gathered outside AIADMK chief's residence. Also, on the other hand, to talk about it's going to be a very crucial time for the DMK because this will be an advantage, in fact, for them because they have been facing electoral drubbing since like 2011. So this might be an advantage for them to
Srisha, very quickly, has the DMK chief reacted on this so far?
Well, right now the DMK chief has not come out yet, though there was a meeting between the party treasurer M.K. Stalin and Karunanidhi at this residence where we are standing right now. So, though no word has come out officially from the DMK chief, though we are expecting that he will talk in some time from now. Back to you, Ankit.
Srisha, stay on with me. Let me go across to CS Sudhir, our editor, South, who is joining us live from outside the court, special court in Bangalore. Sudhir, my first question to you: in how much time are we expecting the quantum of punishment to come through?
Well, there has been some movement, and there is fact you can see a heavy bandobast at the special court entrance from where the media is stopped. In fact, I can see a whole lot of movement taking place about a half a kilometer from here now, which is very close to the court complex. What this means is that the sentencing, the arguments were going on about the quantum of sentencing. The public prosecutor Bhavani Singh was asking for 7 years of imprisonment for Jayalalithaa and the other 3 accused, which is Shashikala, Ilavarasi and Sudhakaran. And of course, the defense counsel was arguing for a lesser punishment, keeping in mind Jayalalitha's age, also her health condition. We do not know yet what the sentencing has been, but from all indications it looks like this quantum of punishment has also been delivered. We will know once the lawyers actually come out of that area, because that area is not open to the media, and of course no cell phones are also working there because of the jams at the prison complex.
Sudhir, also, what is your sense? Is the AIADMK ready? Who will take on, who is the next leader now who will be taking on the reins from Jayalalithaa if she's sent to jail immediately?
Well, in any case, Ankit, Jayalalithaa has to resign irrespective of whether she is sent to jail or doesn't go to jail, because the quantum of punishment will really determine that. But yes, at the moment, given the fact that she's convicted, she will have to step down, and there are at least half a dozen contenders, 3 of them ministers in her own cabinet, which includes O. Paneerselvam, who has served as chief minister before. It also includes Senthil, who is the transport minister in her cabinet, and also N. Vishwanathan, who is the electricity minister. Apart from this, there are several dark horses which also includes some bureaucrats like Sheila Balakrishnan, who is a former chief secretary of Tamil Nadu, who could also be handpicked by Jayalalithaa. Remember, AIADMK is a very different party, political party in India. It's essentially Jayalalithaa who is the sole decision maker as far as the AIADMK is concerned, and whoever she picks up, everyone else will really fall in line. So it's essentially going to be her decision and her decision alone as to who will be the next Chief Minister in Tamil Nadu. But yes, all indications that she will continue to rule the government and the state by proxy. So whoever becomes a Chief Minister will only be a rubber stamp Chief Minister.
So this stay on with me. Of course, any moment, as Sudhir was saying, we might hear the quantum of punishment. Javed, coming to you, as Sudhir was saying, she probably, of course, would be remote controlling the government, even if she's behind the bar. But would that be easy for her? She has been the face, she has been somebody the people of Tamil Nadu have voted for. Would that be easy for her now to remote control it from behind the bars?
It depends on where she's put up. If she's jailed outside the state of Tamil Nadu, it will be difficult. If she's within Tamil Nadu, it might be that bit easier. But it will be very difficult for the AIADMK to function without Jayalalitha's guidance and without her leadership. Because AIADMK in recent memory, all they've known is either MGR or Jayalalitha. And without Jayalalitha at the helm, even if somebody she handpicks to lead, will be a very poor substitute, and they'll be like people out in the wilderness. So for AIADMK, things will certainly not be easy. They have a mountain to climb. It will be a real challenge for them.
A quick, of course, reaction from Mr. Kant to get a legal perspective on this whole story. Sir, what is the maximum and a minimum that Jayalalitha can get, and what sort of an argument and what will be the most crucial section that her lawyers would want the minimum punishment on?
Well, the most crucial section is 13(1)A of the Prevention of Corruption Act, because the whole case revolves around that, and even the 120B and 109 will get attracted to whatever the quantum of punishment is in that section. So the most important for them would be to defend that and try to bring it minimum, maybe below 2 years, so that she doesn't really have to, quit and she doesn't get disqualified. And probably as far as 120B and 109 are concerned, probably they'll try to say that doesn't get attracted. There was no conspiracy which was hashed, and as far as abetment is concerned. So I mean, that would be the line of argument which they're going to give, and I'm sure they're going to press for the minimum possible sentence, and definitely below 3 years, so that she doesn't go to jail.
Well, huge repercussions as far as this story is concerned. Let me go across back to T.S. Sudhir. Sudhir, what we are hearing right now is that there has been a media blackout in certain sections of Tamil Nadu. So, of course, AIADMK trying to somehow, reduce the damage that this verdict has done to them.
Well, something like this would happen has been doing the rounds in Tamil Nadu for the last 2 to 3 weeks. In the morning, if we saw, there were sweets being distributed, some kind of firecrackers also being burst, because the AIADMK cadre expected that Jayalalitha would get acquitted. But once the news of the conviction leaked out a little after 2 o'clock, the mood changed. There has been violence reported from different parts of Tamil Nadu, including Chennai, cities like Coimbatore, Salem and Cuddalore. And the fact that a media blackout has been announced, the cable operators have switched off most of the Tamil news channels, perhaps in a very immature bid to ensure that the people of Tamil Nadu don't get to know what's really happened to their Chief Minister. Also, power cuts in many parts of Tamil Nadu, again to ensure that people do not have access to information. So that's a kind of a clamp being put on the people's right to get information about something which really concerns them at a very personal level, given that it's going to be their Chief Minister who has been convicted, and they're going to get a new Chief Minister in that state of Tamil Nadu.
Of course, attempt to clamp down on the media there. Sudhir, also any word from your sources on how Jayalalitha and the other accused reacted when they were found guilty?
Well, what I'm told by my sources who were inside the court is that she has been inside the court hall. She did not leave the court hall except once when she came to her vehicle, perhaps to collect and look at some bail papers which are also provided inside, because they obviously believed that if the conviction was for a period of less than 3 years, she could immediately move for bail. So that was the plan. So that was the only time she actually came out, left the court hall. But apart from that, the 4 of them have been in court throughout. Jayalalitha, we are told that she asked for explanation on each of the charges that were pressed against her. She asked the judge for clarifications on each of the charges. So that's what has actually contributed to this extension of time, something which was supposed to be delivered by around 11:30, even at 4 o'clock, 4:25. We still do not know what really the quantum of sentencing is. So also the fact that the others insisted that all the charges be translated into Tamil and told to them, Shashikala, Ilavarasi and Sudhakaran, making the plea that they do not understand English, so the whole thing has to be translated into Tamil. So essentially taking on a position which kind of showed that they were not nervous, but yes, a lot of anxiety definitely both within them and also with the AIADMK cadre.
Absolutely. Stay on with this, Sudhir. Let me go across to Javed Ansari, our executive editor, who is in the studio with me. Javed, the DMK that is now, of course, upbeat, is celebrating this judgment. Few of their leaders have also been charged and are going through a legal process as far as corruption cases are concerned. How much of a benefit will this verdict will reap to DMK?
Well, certainly if your enemy is weakened, you stand to gain. And as far as the issue of corruption is concerned, now Jayalalithaa or nobody can claim the moral high ground. So as far as for the DMK, at least parity has been restored. But for them to step in, they need to first get their own house in order, because the DMK is yet to show any signs of recovering from the drubbing that they have received in the Assembly and in the Lok Sabha elections. The DMK needs to get its own house in order, get its act together before it steps in to fill the breach. Elections are 2 years from now. Of course, there is some churning happening. People are looking towards the DMK because in normal course of things, they should be the direct beneficiaries. I'm told Vaiko and Ramdas back channel contacts have already been made, but it will still be some time before these fructify. For now, yes, at least now they can counter the allegations that AIADMK used to make against them especially on the issue of corruption.
Let me go back to T.S. Sudhir, taking up from this point. Sudhir, do you see a realignment, happening in Tamil Nadu politics? All these other parties probably now gravitating back towards DMK?
Well, DMK's big hope is that given the kind of drubbing they received both in 2011 Assembly elections and the 2014 Lok Sabha elections on the primary issue of corruption, that the DMK as a party had a corrupt image, that many of its top leaders were actually accused of corruption. The fact that Jayalalithaa has been convicted in a corruption case would actually give them some hope that perhaps the people of Tamil Nadu would actually deliver the same verdict when it comes to the 2016 Assembly elections. But whether any realignment takes place, it's too early to say, because the AIADMK, remember, it went without any alliance partners in the 2014 Lok Sabha elections. So it hasn't had any political friends of late. But the smaller parties, whether it's Vaiko or the Vijay party or the PMK, at the moment they have gone with the BJP, which actually would be a party which would look to kind of occupy the opposition space. But DMK definitely would think that its own leaders like Kanimuri and Raja have not been convicted. Here is a case of Jayalalithaa who has been convicted, and that's a distinction. They would actually try to tell the voters that leaders like Kanimuri and Raja and Dayanidhi Maran, it's only an allegation, a charge. They have not yet been proved guilty in a court of law, something the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister has been.
Well, of course, all eyes now on the quantum of punishment, and that will determine the future as far as Jayalalithaa is concerned.